Hi, I'm Manny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Capricorn for October 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see tons of free resources about the current transits and all kinds of things. And if you would love to have a personal live reading with me, I am back off of sabbatical, taking new clients. So you can see that at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on in the month of October? We have Venus retrograde taking front and center focus. I'm going to tell you in this video where you can expect the Venus retrograde energies to show up for you. So we'll talk about that as well as some other things that are going on specific for Capricorn, plus a short general transit summary so that you understand some other things that are going on that will be affecting everyone. Okay, so let's start out with, let's see. I'm calling the theme of this month for you, new financial foundations. And some of that has to do with some activity in the financial sector of your chart, but more of it has to do with both the Venus retrograde transit. Venus rules money and business. So that's part of it. Also, another part is that many of you are going to be experiencing this retrograde in the 10th house, which is the house of work. Now we know that there are people who work who don't make a lot of money, and there are people who are famous, which is also the 10th house, and who don't make a lot of money. So this 10th house is not always directly related to money, but it certainly plants the seeds and builds a foundation on which you can create improvement and expansion in finances. But this month is about so much more than just that. It's very hard to just summarize in one sentence the massive amount of potentials that are sitting here for you. So we'll just take them piece by piece. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Venus retrograde. Venus is retrograde from October 5th through November 15th. Venus rules love, beauty, finances, money, design, you know, all of those things. And so it covers a lot of ground. So from October 5th through November 15th, it's retrograde. But for the month before that and the month after that, it's the shadow period. And the shadow period has the same rules. I have put together for you what I believe to be the most comprehensive series of information available anywhere on Venus retrograde. So I want you to check that out because I'm not going to cover everything in this video. But I did cover everything in these other resources. Okay, so check out, look for Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde video, Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde do's and don'ts blog with a written version of the video. Also, I have a 12 blog series on Venus retrograde through the different signs. Today, I'm going to focus on Venus retrograde through the 10th and 9th houses because that's where Capricorns will be experiencing this in the Cap chart. But definitely check out the blogs on Venus retrograde in Scorpio and Venus retrograde in Libra because that is where they're moving for everybody, and that's definitely going to affect you. And I'll hit a couple of highlights here as well. Okay, so let's see. Besides that, there's actually a lot of other things going on because there are other planets in Capricorn that are affecting subsections of you all. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about here. So let's start out with the Venus retrograde. You early degree placements and half or so of you middle degree placements are going to experience Venus retrograde in the 10th house. The rest of you middle degree placements are going to experience at least part of this in the 10th house. And then you'll also experience it in the 9th, and you late degree placements, you'll have this in the 9th house. Okay, so let's talk about the 10th house. So if you're not sure if you're early, middle, or late degree, early degree placements are the first 10 days of the sign, first 10 birthdays. Middle degrees are the second 10 days, late degrees are the last 10 days. And the same goes for your rising or moon if you're watching. 0 to 9 is early, 10 to 19 is middle, and 20 to 29 is late. And it does make a difference because the chart is different depending on your degree. It shifts, everything shifts. Okay, so 10th house, what does that mean? What does that have to do with? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to first give you some understandings about the energy of the retrograde and some general considerations and things to know. Okay, so Venus, anything in retrograde, brings a reconsideration. So things are going to come up from the past. It's not generally the best time to act on the things that you're assessing. So if you can avoid making big decisions in money and love and design, like design projects or beauty anything you do to your physical body. So that's buying clothes or tattoos or anything like that. You're not seeing clearly in love and beauty and money and design and art and things like that. So there's an increased odds of you saying, what was I thinking? If you do anything in those arenas, then after the transit passes, you'll look back on that and be like, what was I thinking? So just kind of feel that out. There are always going to be caveats to that, but in general, this is a time to see what pieces of your life are showing up weaknesses. These transits often give you opportunities. Sometimes they're just straight opportunities. Sometimes they're just blessings that come from past things that you did. So you could see that happen too, especially in the work sector. But often they come up through some form of a crisis or something that you've been neglecting in one of the arenas that we just mentioned. And it shows you what needs to happen in order for you to move forward. Okay, so this is like the energy of the earthworm, going back over old ground to make fertile soil for future amazing crops. So assessing, researching, working in the backdrop, doing short-term things, doing things that are low stakes. If it's low stake, it doesn't matter. If you want to buy a new blanket, buy a new blanket. If it's super expensive and you can't really afford it, there's a chance you're not going to like it. There's more of a chance you're not going to like it. So you have to assess your personal situation. And I go into that in the other video and blog. So you can kind of just to help you to assess where you're at in the consideration process so that you can understand all the caveats. But basically low stakes things, it doesn't matter. Just live your life, stay the course. It's totally fine. For big things, those are the things you really want to give extra consideration. Okay, so you early degree and middle degree people, you will be having this energy in the 10th house. So this rules work, career, father figures, stepfathers, authority figures, and your relationship with them, as well as what you do out in the world. So very often, it's very common for people with this transit going on to reconsider what it is that you're doing. You might consider it, reconsider it altogether, want to do something completely different. Or you might consider different parts of it or, how you're doing it. Sometimes this can bring business slowdowns, but I've also seen boom come. I've seen people from your past clients, past contacts, just boom, you with purchases. So it's definitely better to go back to old clients to sell things than it is to try to find new clients at this time, unless it's short-term stuff, but if you're building a clientele, your power is going to be more towards the past. Love in the workplace could return from the past. So if you had dated someone, you had work romance that you couldn't be with, maybe they could get transferred or something could show up again there. Love for your job could return. The retrograde could make you feel about your job, but equally as likely to make you feel returned gusto and passion for it. So anything like that. Making money with a father figure or a boss or something like that, or one of these people acknowledging you and putting you in a place of recognition or a powerful position could happen. Reconsideration of your work image could also come up. So how you're presenting yourself, how you could improve, or become more consistent or in integrity with what you're trying to create. Some questions that you can proactively address or that will just naturally come up on their own without you doing anything is, does my father or stepfather need me? Is there something in my relationship with my father or authority figures in general or men in general that needs some work? Could my father help me with something right now? Are there people from my past that could advance my work, career, or higher purpose? What do you need to succeed? How can you receive support in getting what you need to succeed? In general, vocational training and research could be good now if it's a short-term training program. That could be good, especially if it's something that you haven't just woken up in October and said, I want to do this totally different thing. So if you do that and it's an inexpensive short-term course, then that's totally fine. But if it's more expensive or longer, it's better if it's something you've reconsidered it from the past, like you wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do this thing, then maybe the retrograde could bring it in for you. Rekindling previous work, careers, or connections, bringing harmony back to relationship with father figures, etc. Researching and considering doing a big picture image makeover. But again, it's not the best time to do the makeover. It's just the time to kind of feel it out and see what that would look like. And the serious reconsideration into feeling these things can sometimes spark what needs to happen. Getting back in touch with previous work-related romance, again, not the best time to make a commitment, but it is a good time to try things on or reconsider or feel into it. So my affirmation for Venus retrograde through the 10th house is, I draw in full support for living in my highest purpose. Okay, so now for the rest of you, like the other half, the latter half, you're going to be experiencing Venus going retrograde in your 9th house. And so let's talk about what some of these things. Is there a writing, teaching, publishing, spiritual, church, international business, travel related project or business or line of work that you want to get back to, or that you want to create, or projects in those arenas that you started but didn't finish? Is there a location geographically that's calling for you to go there or to return there? You know, often a place will kind of call out to you. If there's a place calling out to you, this might be an amazing time to go to it. Also, making money in any of those things I listed. You know, are you considering making money in writing or teaching or learning or anything like that? So because Venus rules money, so reconsidering how you can make money with these projects, or how you can spend money with them, or how you can do them for your work. So getting back into any of those things, including spiritual pursuits and studies, you may find that you are wanting to look at a diverse range of information. So like book benders are very common during this time, or considering many different things at once, because Sag energy is really all over the place. So you might find that that comes up. So the affirmation that I made for you for Venus moving through the 9th house is, I reconnect with past experiences in meaningful ways. So this is very much an experience-based energy, as well as an ideology-based focus. Okay, so I promised that I would give you a few tidbits as well on the general energies of Venus going retrograde through Scorpio and Libra. There are some similarities between the two, because Scorpio and Libra are both partnership energies. So in this period of time, everybody is reconsidering their relationships with their spouses, their business partners, their family members, intimacy blocks, anything having to do with money, sex, power, esoteric subjects, making money in those arenas, money connected to those arenas, anything like that. Or just the love of and the fanatical pursuit of anything there. So asking the questions like, how can you create a win-win? How can you focus on synergy? That's a big message of this energy, is synergy. How can you create these synergized relationships? It's not just win-win. How can you add more substance to your life? How can you combine with powerful partners? How can you pay off and manage debt and be smarter with money? So a lot of the energy of love is coming back from the past. So anything, people from the past, ways of doing things in the past, issues from the past are very likely to come up. This is an amazing time to restore magic to a current relationship. So if you were in a relationship and you want to be in that, prioritizing that person and the relationship, bumping them up a few notches in your busy schedule might be a really great way to use this energy. Okay, so we have a couple more things to talk about here. We've got, and this is ongoing, and I've been mentioning this, if you are in the first few days of the sign, and actually if you're in the first, you need to listen up if you're in the first 10 degrees of the sign, or the first 10 days. Okay, so all December born in the first few days of January, this is for you. Saturn is either currently sitting on top of, or about to, or has just crossed over your Cap placement. That can bring amazing fruition, like business things coming in, things solidifying, there's just everything gelling for you. It can also bring major heaviness, stress, wrinkles sprouting that you didn't have before this transit. Saturn is notorious for frown lines. It's just like, it's heavy, okay? But if you're in that placement, those placements, then the first few degrees, you're going to be done here soon. The rest of you up till the 10 degrees or so, 9 degrees, by the end of the year and the beginning of next year, you know, this energy will be much more clear for you. And then the rest of the sign, we will be talking about this for you on an ongoing basis. Saturn is going to be crossing over your placement, so we'll have to talk more about that. But what Saturn wants from you is discipline. It wants discipline, it wants hard work, and it wants you to have direction and ambition to create the life of your dreams. And when you do those things, it will reward you, okay? But it can be heavy, it can be hard, and there can be hardships and challenges. And you definitely have to protect your energy more and do more protection, because it can just bring some heaviness. So the Pluto energies, we've been talking about that too. That's for anyone around, you know, 18 degrees through 20 or so degrees. You're in the hot time. So that would be like 18 to 20 days into the sign. So you can calculate that. But that energy, Pluto crossing over your placement, is like one of the most transformational transits that we could possibly have. So if that's crossing over your ascendant, your moon, your sun sign, you know, you are in the midst of a major radical crossroads, and you're not going to be the same afterwards. But you have a massive amount of Plutonian energy to assist you with making amazing change. So it's hard, but it is powerful, and it can be very productive. Okay, so those are the things that are most on my mind for Cap. Now I have a short overview of some general Venus retrograde things to do and note, some sweet spots for October to note, and some rough energies that you want to be aware of. So we're going to get into all that now. So I'm calling the theme of October 2018 for all signs Venus retrograde on the positive tip. We've already talked about what Venus retrograde in the house that it's retrograde for your sign can look like for you, and some strategies to best utilize that. And now I want to give you some general things, especially some positive things, but also with a few cautionary notes, and just a reminder that really you have to go watch my Venus retrograde video, Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde, and definitely look at the written version in my blog at anniehelpsyou.com, because there's so much to know about this transit. It's so long. It's from October 5th through November 15th as the actual retrograde, but a month before and a month after is the shadow period when we're going to these rules will apply. So one of the best things that Venus retrograde is amazing for is working on self-esteem. Everything that Venus rules, love, beauty, design, money, comes back to this energy of relationship with self. So our relationship with money and business, our relationship with other people, our relationship with how we feel like we look, all has to do with our self-esteem. So that's why in general it's not favored to try to push out in any of these other arenas, because it's really a time to locate and clear issues that are holding you back from the inside. So inner work, prayer, meditation, affirmation, you know, anything where you can heal from trauma and anything that's negatively affecting your self-esteem is amazing for this time. Something else that's amazing for this time is to look to the past for improvements for love and money. Okay, so that means like if you did something with your partner in the past that worked really well, or if in general, you know, you did certain things with your love life in the past that worked really well. There could be like a renaissance, a returning back to things that worked really well. Many people who are separated from their love will have them come back to them in Venus retrograde. If there's someone that you left off with and you're not sure about, sometimes they come knocking again in Venus retrograde. And it's a really amazing time to reconsider things. It's just, and assess. It's just not the best time to commit to anything that you're figuring out from the assessments. Something that Venus retrograde is amazing for is for treasure hunters. If you are looking for a deal on something, unfortunately, this is coming from the fact that many people are not seeing clearly in money, and they're selling things of value for emotional reasons at crazy low prices. So if you have money to spare, you could wind up picking up an amazing deal. It's just a treasure hunter's delight. Definitely be careful though, because it could also, something you buy could become a money pit. So you have to make sure that you're getting a really great deal, and that, like if it's a house or something, you really need to do as many inspections as possible and just make sure, you know, you have all your bases covered, you know, extra inspections like sewage, septic, you know, whatever, everything that you can do to make sure that you know that what you're buying isn't going to have any negative surprises, then it could turn out really well. You just have to look out for that. So in general, going back to the past for love, going back to the past for money and business, things that worked in the past with money, clients from the past, if you do something like you teach or offer something regularly, sometimes in a Venus retrograde, you'll have a bunch of people from the past who had been considering taking this offering might come out in full force. And of course, it could happen the other way. You know, a lot of people do have financial issues, like financial backlog, where they have trouble with their finances, and then that's going to point to healing some inner issues that are causing these reflections or the lack of stability. Okay, so I'm going to talk about hit some sweet spots and hit some challenging spots in the month. Remember, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, because there I give you a write-up of this general transit in more detail with lots of dates of actual aspects, what the aspects are and what to look out for each aspect, so that you can plan ahead. I always send these out a month early. And if you are signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting these, I'm definitely sending them. I always send them meticulously on time. So you definitely check for like your spam, promotions, or social folders, because if you're not getting in the inbox, they're going there. And then you can just move it over to your inbox or whitelist the email on there to get them in there. Okay, so let's just do a quick review of some sweet spots. Well, actually, let's do the challenging ones first. Okay, so we've got things to look out for on October 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 23rd, 24th, and 31st, with extra emphasis on those ones towards the end of the month, the 24th and the 31st. Now, it's interesting because in general, the second half of the month has a lot better flow and sweet energy, with the exception of those two spots. Okay, those are oppositions with Uranus that can bring jolts and surprises. That could be challenging. So just kind of tread lightly around those days. And then the other ones that I listed, you could see some challenges. Always look out around the full moon, which is like the 24th, because, you know, there could be drama or there could be fulfillment, completion or fruition. And that's going to be in these energies of Taurus. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition coming to things involving money and business and self-worth. There's a topic coming up again, sensual delights, material resources, environmental and sustainability projects, boundaries, resistance to change, things like that. Oh, and anything having to do with your throat, vocal cords, thyroid gland, etc. could bring things to light, or bring things up to be dealt with. Okay, so I want to end off talking about the sweet spots. We've got some of the days that could turn out to be challenging could also turn out to be super sweet. So you'll hear when I list the sweet vibe days. And always remember, when I give you these dates, we could feel the energies before or after the actual date, because there's an orb of energy around each transit. So don't stick too heavily to the dates, just kind of tune into how you are experiencing the energy. So sweet spot possibilities on the 5th, the 8th, the 15th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 24th, the 26th, the 27th, and the 29th. In general, the second half of the month, like I said, has a lot of sweetness, with the exception of the 23rd, 24th, and the 31st, some things to look out for. But there's some really awesome things going on, like October 22nd. Mercury is making a beautiful aspect to Pluto. So your powers of persuasion are improved and your powers of perception are improved. Then there's also this October 27th with the Sun in Scorpio making an amazing aspect to Saturn. So this is a great energy to get things done, and also an enhanced possibility of being seen or acknowledged by somebody in a position that you want to notice you. So it could be like someone in your family that you've always been kind of chasing their approval, or it could be somebody, you know, in the work world. October 29th, there's this mixed bag, but it really has potential for a lot of good news and good luck. Mercury and Jupiter get together. So whenever any of these personal planets get together with Jupiter, the energy of luck, you know, amplifies out, and Mercury rules news. So some good news about money, about something involving your partner. It could be money from your partner. It could be your own money. Lots of magical potentials here. Of course, it could also bring intensity to conversations, you know, in the Scorpio realms or something like that. But in general, I'm looking for that day, hopefully, to have some good vibes. So overall, this month of October, some little awkward spots, and definitely the Venus retrograde is going to have this shadow, but if you understand the energies, as you will if you use all of the many resources that I made for you, then I think that this can be a really sweet month. And for the things that are challenging, you could really have pure alchemy to turn the lead to gold. So go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You can also see more about my personal live readings, which I'm off sabbatical and I'm taking taking new clients now. If you've been wanting to have a reading and have me look at your chart. Also, if you would love to learn astrology, check out my astrology apprenticeship program. I also have all kinds of other goodies on my website. If you want written horoscopes from me, they go into often different things than I focus on in the reports. So it's a really good written highlight and summary, and includes great reads for each sign. So cozy by sweetstarlight.com. And if you're a traveler and you want to see my astrology travel reports to see what days to look out for specifically for travel, then check out Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.